All right, welcome. Thanks everyone for joining us today as we introduce Skip Schumaker as the 21st full-time manager in Rangers history. We have Rangers President of Baseball Operations Chris Young and General Manager Ross Fenstermaker, and we're going to open with some comments from Chris.
Good morning everybody, and thank you all for being here on a special day for the Texas Rangers organization as we introduce our newest manager, Skip Schumaker. Over the past year, we've had the unique opportunity as we brought Skip into the organization as a senior advisor to really develop a relationship with Skip, to have baseball discussions throughout the year, to learn, to grow, and really philosophically understand how we view the game and how we view success. And throughout those conversations, it became very evident to us that Skip is the perfect person to lead us forward. He has tremendous standards. He's got the same belief and alignment in terms of culture. He has an infectious energy and personality and care for people, and a great way about him in terms of communicating that we really have full confidence that he's the perfect person to help us move forward and strive for our next World Series championship. So it really is a great pleasure to not only work with Skip for this last year, but now to partner with him and Ross as we move forward into what we hope is going to be our pursuit of the next World Series championship. So with that, it's a great honor and to introduce Skip and welcome him and his family, his wife Lindsay, his son Brody, and his daughter Presley to the Texas Rangers organization. Skip, welcome. Congratulations, man. Yeah.
Thank you. A few photos here.
Stand up on this chair.
Back middle there too. Everybody good?
All right. What's going on, you guys?
All right, for the Q&A, just so Skip can familiarize himself with the local media, if you could just say your name and affiliation when you ask a question, please. Start off with Jeff.
Skip, Jeff Wilson with DLS. What about this job what was so attractive to accept the offer to be manager?
Yeah, well, first I want to thank our owner Ray and obviously our president CY and GM Ross for giving me this incredible opportunity to lead this franchise for at least the next 4 years. And CY hit it. I mean, the unique opportunity to really learn an organization for a full year just doesn't happen. I quickly learned the passion CY has for winning and trying to making and doing whatever he can to make this a first-class organization. The alignment is real. I am our core values and what we expect every single day, and making winning the most important part of our day is exactly who I am and what my family is about. And I believe in a winning culture, and this is everywhere you walk around, every single department is about winning, and winning culture to me is about elite communication. I've said it before, like we are going to be the best at communicating from front office all the way down to the clubhouse staff and training staff. We are absolutely aligned with what we think winning looks like and giving our best every single day, wherever we're at. It doesn't matter, how much we can give, but we're going to give everything we can for that day to win. Our preparation is going to be as good as anybody's because we just believe in what it takes as far as players, staff, front office, R&D. Giving our players the best chance to win and to execute that day. So I know it's a lot right there of like what makes it attractive, but not every organization wants to win or is ready to win a championship every day. And the players that we have, and the front office that we have, the staff that we have, it made it easily the most attractive place to be.
Skip Evan Grant with the Dallas Morning News. I am really interested in the whole dynamic of this unique opportunity that you had in the past year. And you talked about your relationship with CY. The little bit that I think I know about you suggests that preparation is key to you taking a job. But I want to know what you learned. What did you learn over the past year about the whole organization?
Well, CY provided me a great opportunity to be home with my family, which was great. My wife Lindsay, daughter Presley, and son Brody, which you don't get a chance to kind of reset, during your baseball life and your journey. So I'm very grateful for that. I got to learn from a Hall of Fame manager. He allowed me in and learn his processes and what he thought winning looked like. And you don't get that opportunity as a young manager every day. And then, sitting in the suite or via text message if they're on the road with Ross and CY, the senior advisors, and Michael Young and Nick Hundley and Ian Kinsler, just bouncing ideas back and forth, talking with Pipe daily and trying to figure out exactly, what he sees and, how he's trying to get, players better every single day. You just don't get that opportunity in my seat, just to learn every single department and how it works and how we can push back and make things better. So I'm very grateful for that. It just doesn't really happen. Usually you get an interview or two during this process and you're trying to figure out if it's just the right place for you. Immediately I knew that we aligned and what we think, like I said, winning looks like, and the details and the standards and the core values, all of that is who I am and what we are. And so it was I'm very grateful for that whole year of watching how this thing works.
Skip Kennedy, LandryMoby.com. I mean, now a year removed from your time in Miami, what do you reflect most, I guess, upon that experience and what you did well, what you could have done better, and things like that?
Yeah, you always try to grow from every experience, whether it was year one, year two, different rosters, different front offices, and the last thing that I ever wanted to be was 1 foot in, 1 foot out of anything, even though I had an idea of where that was going to end up. But I got to learn how different front offices think, how they acquire players, how they try to get players better, learning how different minor league systems are run. So I was very grateful for in the first regime in Miami and the second regime in Miami, because they were both different on how they thought. And I'm very grateful, even though it didn't end like we wanted it to end, obviously, the second year. They treated me really well, and my family well, and I can take some of those experiences, hopefully, and try to make this place as good as it can be.
Skip, Stephen Hawkins with the Associated Press. You talk about getting to know the organization, and I know Jake Berger played for you in Miami, but how much of a relationship or how much have you gotten to know the players that are here in this clubhouse?
Yeah, I try to navigate that as carefully as I could. It's a tricky spot because you respect the staff so much, and the last thing that I wanted to be was this helicopter coach where I was just dropping hot takes and then why don't you just do this and then leave and go see my family for a week, and that I don't feel like that was the play at all. But you are in constant communication with certain players that you had before. Obviously Jake was one of those. My wife was friends with his wife, and so just trying to keep him motivated, and if there was something that was going on, you're just trying to encourage the whole time. But the last thing I was going to do is try to tell him, hey, why don't you try to do this, while there's a really good coaching staff that's grinding with him throughout the year. But I am looking forward to being with him for 162 this year.
And I'm assuming that when you took this position with the Rangers, that your hope was to get back in managing one day, and clearly everybody knew Bochy wasn't going to be here forever. At what point did you realize this was probably going to be a good opportunity, that you would have this chance to be sitting where you are right now today?
Yeah, it's funny. I've said this before, and my wife's going to be sick of hearing this, but I'm not very good at sitting home. So I have problems. Like, I need something to do every single day, and she told me right when I retired, like, I'm not your hobby, and so I had to figure it out. And so and that's the truth. And as much as we love each other, like, she knows, like, hey, when's your next road trip? So I never knew, like when you're playing, you don't at least I didn't set out like, oh, my next step is gonna be managing one day. Like I was just in the moment, trying to survive as a player in the major league level, doing everything I could to help a team win as a player. And then I wanted to know what my next step was, started coaching in San Diego, didn't know exactly what route I was gonna go, ended up just falling in love, with the game on that side of things, and I just had this passion of teaching, I am very consistent and disciplined, and so when I come in after, that's why I try to manage, and have a consistency and discipline, behind it. After a win, celebrate the win. If we lose, it's still enjoyable coming to the park and trying to fix what happened. And that's going to be the hallmark and kind of what I'm trying to accomplish every single day. But to say that, I thought about managing in 2016 is just not true. It's just kind of the progression, of like first base coach to bench coach to managing, and I just fell in love with managing and leading a major league team, and I'm very grateful that I'm able to have an opportunity to do it again.
Hey Skip, Schumaker on the Dallas Morning News. When you look at this roster and the performance from last year, maybe the last 2 seasons, where are the areas of improvement that you think need to be hit on the most as you kind of move into the offseason and spring training?
I mean, this is an extremely talented roster. I think developing a winning clubhouse culture is going to be the number one thing that's on my list this offseason, of just getting to know the players, trying to figure out exactly what motivates them and gets them going every single day, and starting, just like I said, building those relationships. What's missing? I mean, obviously we know about the injuries quite a bit. Every organization goes through that, but what can we do to figure out how to get this thing going from day one in spring training is the goal. What's missing? I mean, every organization can look at what happened, and that self-reflect. I think that's only natural. Being here a week out of the month, type thing, and overseeing, just watching on TV. I can't give you these hot takes right now. I just know that, like, for me, I'm starting fresh, and trying to build a staff around these players that can focus on winning the day, and that's the goal.
Kevin, then Jeff.
Kevin Sherrington, Dallas Morning News. This is an unusual situation. You've been here with Bruce at the same time, and I wonder you touched on it a little bit, but what that relationship was like, if there was anything that he said to you that stood out that you were recalling, and what do you think of him as manager?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have known Bruce for a number of years. We go on vacations together every now and then in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with a bunch of different managers. And right when I got the job here, when CY and Ross offered, he called me and said, "I can't wait to learn from you." That just shows you what kind of guy he is, because he wasn't going to learn anything from me, right? Like, there's just no way. But it just shows you what kind of leader he was, and that just broke the ice. It made me feel comfortable. He let me come in on meetings. We were texting, throughout the season every now and then. So I'm very grateful for how he went about this, and allowed me to learn from him. Which, I've been around a lot of rookie managers in my career. That's how this thing started. I was a bench coach for a rookie manager. I was a first base coach for a rookie manager, and then I was a bench coach again for another rookie manager in St. Louis. So that's how a lot of guys I've been around. So to have this experience was unique, but I'm very, very grateful for it.
Jeff Gold with Fox 4. Skip, right here. Congratulations. CY, curious, when Skip became available after he left Miami, what do you remember about how much you wanted him and that process for getting him in here with the Rangers?
Yeah, it's a great question, because Skip and I really didn't have a pre-existing relationship before last year. We played against each other. I knew his reputation as a player, and it was, I think, comparable in terms of we weren't the most talented, but we had extended major league careers because we had to do things the right way. We had to grind and really fight for every day we got in the big leagues. And so there was just a respect that I had for him before I even knew him. And then I think it was it 2023 in Miami you were managing, and Went up and introduced myself on field, and actually we were in training camp in the end of my career in San Diego together, so I knew him just a little bit. And then in 2023, we struck up a conversation on the field in Miami, and just talked baseball philosophy, and I really enjoyed the conversation. I came away with a great impression. It matched sort of what I knew about the person and the success of his playing career. And then last year when he became available and he turned down a couple interviews, I thought this could be a great opportunity to bring him into the organization. We had lost Will Venable, and felt like, you know, getting Skip in here and learning from him, he's going to have opportunity throughout baseball. I knew that this year there were going to be jobs for him available, and so you know, let's come in and learn from him and grow. And you know, one thing has led to the next, and here we are, and really excited to work with him.
And with Bochy, you had said the other week that you hoped that maybe he would stay around in a different capacity. Is there still hope for that? And Skip, if not, do you feel like you could still lean on Bochy?
Yeah, 100%. Would welcome Boch back in a senior advisor role with open arms. Absolutely have the most respect and love for Boch, and there are a number of ways that he will continue to make this organization better, but he's earned the right to do whatever he wants, if he wants to manage or if he wants to stay at home, or if he I'm sure is going to have opportunities with other organizations. But in my opinion, I view him as a Ranger, and I would love to have him here, and but we're very respectful of his decision at this point in his life.
Absolutely would love to have him back, yes.
Hey Skip, John Radigan, DLLS. So you mentioned how much respect you had for the staff and the grinding they were doing. Have you had enough time to sort of analyze your feelings about them and/or, you know, what their futures hold with the organization?
Yeah, of course. You know, the front office and I have talked the last week or so since I got this job, and trying to figure out and navigate exactly what we want to do. And we've had conversations with some staff members already, and trying to figure out exactly the route we want to go. And yeah, all really good guys, pros in there, and you know, looking forward to continuing those conversations. It's tricky right now, obviously, because we're in those conversations, involved in those conversations. But yeah, I expect to have a couple of those guys back for sure.
And why'd you choose 55? Any reason?
We were just actually talking about that. So a couple things. Oral Hershiser, when I was a young kid, I met him, my dad and I met him at a, I don't want to say a bar, but it was like a restaurant. And he was gracious enough to, after he was done eating, my dad said, okay, go up and ask for an autograph. I did. I had a glove that had Oral Hershiser autograph in there, you know, like it was not his real one,
Yeah,
but like a
yeah.
printed one. Oral picked me up, wrote to a future Dodger, him and Tommy Lasorda actually to a future Dodger, Oral Hershiser and Tommy Lasorda. I have those in my office back at home, and then so it just felt natural to wear 55 because it made such an impact on me as a kid. And then fast forward, I got to play for the Dodgers. Oral was there, so for full circle, it was a pretty cool story.
Everybody that I've talked to talks about your ability to build relationships. Can you give a little insight into how you go about doing that with players and the value of that?
Well, there's a number of ways to do it. I think, you know, it's a lot of it is organic conversations, stuff that you guys might not see behind the scenes, whether it's on the road, in the suite, you know, over coffee, you know, walking around the outfield during batting practice, in the office. Hopefully it's not a lot of office time. That means we're in a bad spot. But I think it's a lot of organic conversation. Players want to know where they're at. I think that's the main thing. You know, take the guesswork out of it. They want to know where they're at, and if they're not happy with, you know, their playing time or whatever it is, then they want to know how they can get better. And I think having those conversations and some difficult conversations, obviously, is what we're willing to do and what I want to do, because then they can find ways to get better. And I think it's important for our staff to be aligned with that and not sugarcoat anything. You know, when I was a player, it was the same way. I just wanted to know how I could play more, or what it would take to help us win, you know, a game or, you know, a World Series. And I think that's super important in building those relationships, because then you have that trust factor. you know you're not again sugarcoating anything. And you know, even the greatest players, the best players I've been around, you know, future Hall of Fame players either coached or played with. There's some in that clubhouse right now. Those players don't feel like they've arrived. They're still coming, right? They are still going, and they want to evolve. They want to get better, and they're just not happy. Typically, the best players aren't happy with just where they're at. In fact, my least favorite phrase is, "This is just who they are." That's a lazy quote from a coach. So that is not what I want. That's not what I expect. And I think the players will know that coming from me and my staff.
Ross, one quick question for you. Among the other things that you do, you oversee the minor league system, and Skip spends some time around the minor league organization, and I think that also has got real value in him becoming a manager here. What kind of input did you get from him about where the minor league system was, or what stood out for you about any input you got on the minor league system?
Yeah, I mean, I think Skip's touched on this, like one of his greatest attributes is his ability to develop relationships with people, so connecting with, you know, various folks that we had in the minor leagues, and, you know, being able to have baseball conversations with them and, you know, navigate some of that. We've had quite a bit of back and forth, and I think, you know, as much as anybody in this last year, you know, our conversations and our dialogue, I've learned a lot about the game of baseball and more about our organization. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity to have him, you know, be involved with some of our folks in player development and continue that forward now as our manager.
Skip, Matt Cagle, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Looking at your resume, you played for and worked with a lot of really great managers, a lot of them. In your time before you took the job in Miami, who of the ones that you worked with or played for that made such an impression on you that you thought, that's a guy I'd like to play for, and tried to emulate it in your managerial role?
Yeah, there's a couple people. Tony La Russa is obviously number one on the list. I asked him, you know, a few years ago, if I manage one day, what are the things that I have to think about, and kind of the non-negotiables. He said, when you make a move, trust your gut. Don't make a move to cover your butt. That was pretty good. The next one, and probably the most important one, is be really good at hiring. And I think that's what CY and Ross have done here, because every person I've met, you know, from clubhouse staff to, you know, everybody in the food room to training room, have all been first-class citizens and people. And you know, the work is the work, and we'll figure that out. But he's really good at hiring, and that's what I want to be, is a really good at hiring. And so that is obviously really, really important to me, is getting people around me that are like-minded and have the same type of values as I do. And then TJ Lasita is a traveling secretary in San Diego. So my point is, it doesn't matter, you know, what role you have in an organization. You can make a real impact on a coach, a player, or another staff member. So, and that's why I don't want anybody to just because of the title that you have doesn't mean you can't, you know, make a real impact here.
Last thing, you know, when you were in Miami, I think from an outsider's perspective, there's a thought that the job that you had in Miami is not like this job at all, even though it's managing a big league club. Are they the same jobs, or are they totally different?
Well, it's the same job to me, because I don't sign up not to win. So that's what I plan on doing. I sign up to try to do whatever I can to get us into the postseason, and then make long runs into the postseason every single year. That is the role. That's what I think big leagues should look like. That's what I think all 30 teams should try to do. Luckily, I'm with one right now that has that same goal in mind, is to get into the postseason and make a run at it. So that was my goal there. It's my goal here, and that doesn't change.
Skip, you were a National League guy your whole career before the DH. So as this offense evolves, with the ballpark factors, are we going to be looking at a more small ball philosophy, or will that, you know, game situational hitting something that you will be?
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know, my focus is doing whatever we can to win today. Whatever the game tells you to do, that day is gonna tell us what we need to do to win. Is it situational hitting? Listen, I love the 3-run home run. Like, that's my favorite thing. It makes my life a lot easier. However, it's really hard to hit. So you have to do the little things sometimes to help win games. You have to win on the margins. The base running helps you win games because that helps you score runs. I'm guessing our hitting coach would love base running to be a strength of ours because that equates to runs. I'm guessing that our defense is going to be pretty elite again. I'm guessing our pitching is going to be pretty elite again. But getting guys to understand doing whatever it takes today to help us win a game is the goal on the offensive side. So the last thing I want to do is hear about the ballpark and the complaining type of culture in a cage or in a clubhouse. We know where we're playing, and that's okay. Let's try to figure out ways to take advantage of our ballpark here.
Skip, congratulations on the title. Maddie Jones, DLLS. I was just curious, Jim Leland is known for, coaching with this mantra of I treat everyone the same, but everyone different. Is there, a phrase that you have that you go to managing?
I don't know if it's a phrase. I've mentioned CAPE is kind of what I believe a winning culture is, and that's communication, alignment, preparation, execution. So everybody talks about winning culture, but no one can define it. That's kind of what I believe it is, and you can't have one without the other and expect to win. And I believe it's in that order as well, the communication, alignment, preparation, execution. As far as the coaching everybody different, yeah, everyone's motivated in different ways. Some are motivated by money, some are motivated by winning, some are motivated by what they can do for their family. If it's whatever it is, they're here because their family's here. I don't know what each one's motivation is, but I do know that if you are only playing through motivation, you're going to be super inconsistent and have these peaks and valleys. So we have to find ways to have guys that are completely disciplined, all in on winning, and then try to find ways to motivate as well. Because if you have that combination, it's pretty deadly. So Leland was around our camp all the time because his friendship with Tony La Russa, which was very valuable for us as players to listen in on him on the bench during spring trainings. And so I completely agree with that statement. I don't have what Leland has right there, but I do believe in CAPE and what winning cultures look like.
Hey Skip, you talked about culture. Going back to that first year in Miami, you're taking over a team that had just lost 93 games, 15-game turnaround. You make the playoffs. What was the culture you found, and what were the keys to creating a winning culture that quickly?
It started in the off season, talking with guys, taking guys out to dinner, face-to-face time, figure out what went wrong so we could try to fix it the best we can. Finding out who the leaders were in that clubhouse and what made guys around them, how are they going to make guys around them better was the key, and getting a really good staff that was aligned with our message day in and day out. So unfortunately there was some movement on the staff. We wanted to get guys that know what winning looks like around me. So the alignment was exactly what COI was talking about, the same from front office to manager throughout the staff. I think, first of all, we had some good players. That's number one, and I think I'm very grateful that we have a lot of good players here. But just trying to see what we can do better in our processes in Miami was the key. Whether it was the R&D department and how it was relayed to the players, whether it was our hitting coach and how that information was relayed to the players, but it was all figuring out the inner workings and trying to figure out what information was beneficial to the player and then what motivated the player, like we just talked about. We had some unique personalities over there in Miami, but again, I keep going back to the winning. As long as their common goal when they walked in the clubhouse was how we're going to get better and how we're going to win today, I was good with it. But keeping that mantra was the key.